To some trending tech news now, you might not be able to see certain Reddit forums today. Thousands of the message boards are going dark to protest upcoming changes to the social media platform. The voluntary blackouts restrict groups' content from being publicly visible. This is the latest backlash as the company looks to better monetize users. For years, Reddit users could browse posts, write comments, and share pictures and videos on Reddit from third-party apps. But starting next month, Reddit plans to charge millions of dollars in fees for some third-party apps to continue accessing the platform. Joining us now to talk more about this Reddit blackout trending online is tech expert Carmi Levy. Carmi, will the average Reddit user have to somehow cough up these fees?
The good news for the average Reddit user is this does not really involve them directly. They are not expected to be paying for the service. It'll still be free. You can still access the website, download the app. All of that will be free. What's changing here is the company wants to charge developers for the right to use the tools, known as an API or an application programming interface. These are the tools that are used to develop apps that sit on top of Reddit and let it do more. So make it more accessible, moderate the forums, sort of some value added app that sits on top of it. Anyone who's ever used, for example, Twitter knows that we use a bunch of different apps in addition to Twitter to make Twitter come alive. Reddit is kind of the same thing. Those APIs are the key for developers to create new and cool ways to access the service. That's always been free. The API has always been free. The company now wants to make money off of it, and developers are saying that's dirty pool.
What do you think of these voluntary blackouts? Do you think it will fuel change?
I think it'll send a very clear message to the owners of Reddit that this is not the way to go about raising money. The company is planning on taking themselves public later this year. And so, of course, when you do go public, you want to show all sorts of new ways that you're making money, that you're a successful business, because investors like that. But unfortunately, this means that, well over a decade of experience where the platform was free for everybody, including developers, now you're going to squeeze them a little bit for some money. And of course, they don't like that. So good for the financial side of the business, not so good for a business that was literally built on the backs of tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people who volunteered their time to moderate forums, to involve themselves in conversations, to provide the reason in the first place that people use Reddit at all. And so there's that push-pull between business and community, and it isn't always a neat place for these kinds of controversies to play out.
Have we seen other platforms do this before?
We're currently watching Twitter do pretty much the same thing. In fact, Reddit's move is very similar to what Elon Musk has been doing, charging developers to access the API. And over the last few months on Twitter, how that's played out is there have been some spontaneous protests on Twitter, not a global blackout, but what's happening is very quietly, a lot of the developers who had created a lot of these apps, a lot of these services, a lot of these plugins that made Twitter more value added, they're deciding that it's just not worth it anymore. They don't want to pay the tens of thousands or more of dollars in order to have the privilege of continuing to access these tools. So they're letting those services go dark. So that's probably why your weather app on Twitter no longer works. Probably why you may not be getting notifications about wildfires. Or pandemic-related information. It costs money now to access those tools, and a lot of developers are quietly walking away. So there isn't a mass protest happening on Twitter, but it shows you the value of community, and that when you start charging the community, whereas they previously gave up their time and energy for free, they will find somewhere else to make their contributions heard.
Thanks so much for joining us, Carmi.
Great being here, Kelly. Thank you.